The police will find her now, my mother announced to the assembled relatives on the family group chat, her message appearing on my phone at 6:47 a.m. I was 300 miles away in my Denver loft, drinking coffee and reviewing quarterly reports, when her next message came through. She stole our car and disappeared like a thief in the night. But the Mercedes-Benz GLE 450 parked in my building's garage wasn't theirs. It was registered to Aurora Holdings LLC, the real estate investment company I'd built from nothing and that they knew absolutely nothing about. My phone rang. Daniela Martinez, my corporate attorney. Sophia, we have a situation. Your parents filed a stolen vehicle report with the Portland Police Department. They're claiming you took their car without permission. I set down my coffee. The Mercedes? Yes. Registration shows it's owned by Aurora Holdings, which you are the sole proprietor of. The vehicle has been registered to your corporation for 18 months. I have all the documentation. They don't know about Aurora Holdings. Clearly, the police ran the VIN and called me as the registered agent. I explained the situation. They're not happy with your parents right now. Filing a false police report is a crime. I walked to my window overlooking downtown Denver. I'd moved here 6 months ago without telling my family where I was going. After 32 years of manipulation, guilt trips, and emotional abuse disguised as love, I'd finally gone no contact. What are my options? I asked. You can let it go, or you can press charges for filing a false report. Given that they're also spreading defamation, calling you a thief to family and potentially to police, you could also pursue a civil case. I thought about the last conversation I'd had with my mother. She'd called me selfish for missing my brother's birthday party. The party I wasn't invited to. When I pointed this out, she said I should have known I was welcome and that expecting an invitation was typical of my entitled attitude. That was the day I decided I was done. Give me a few hours to think about it. After Daniela hung up, I opened the family group chat. 23 new messages, all from the last hour. Mom, Sophia stole our car. We gave her everything and this is how she repays us. Aunt Marilyn, I always knew she was ungrateful. My brother Trevor should have seen this coming. She's always been selfish. Dad, we raised a thief. Our own daughter. Cousin Jessica. What kind of person steals from their parents? Uncle Dennis, have you called the police? Mom, yes. They're looking for her now. She can't hide forever. I screenshot every message. Daniela would want them. My phone rang again. Trevor. I answered. What? You stole Mom and Dad's car? Are you serious right now? Trevor, I didn't steal anything. They filed a police report, Sophia. The cops are looking for you. The car is mine. It's registered to my company. Silence. Then, what company? My real estate investment company. Aurora Holdings. I've owned it for 4 years. You don't have a company. You work at a property management firm. I'd let them believe that. Let them think I was a low-level employee managing apartment rentals. It was easier than explaining that I actually owned a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio. Trevor, the Mercedes is registered in my company's name. Has been for 1.5 years. Mom and Dad are lying. Why would they lie about that? Because they're embarrassed. Because I went no contact, and they need to make me the villain. You just disappeared. You stopped answering calls, texts, you didn't show up for holidays. I set boundaries. I told Mom and Dad I needed space. They ignored it. They showed up at my apartment unannounced 4 times. They called my work 17 times in 1 week. They sent relatives to check on me like I was having a breakdown instead of just trying to live my own life. Because they're worried about you. No, Trevor. They're worried about controlling me. He hung up. I wasn't surprised. I spent the morning working, reviewing property acquisitions, approving renovation budgets, meeting virtually with my property managers. Aurora Holdings owned 43 residential properties across Colorado and Wyoming. Small apartment buildings, multifamily homes, a few commercial spaces. I'd started with 1 duplex 4 years ago, bought with money I'd saved working 2 jobs while my family thought I was finding myself. The portfolio was now worth $12.3 million. I had 8 employees. My annual profit was close to $900,000. And my family thought I managed apartments for someone else. At noon, Daniela called back. The Portland police want to speak with you. They need your statement about the vehicle. Am I in trouble? No. They're annoyed with your parents. Apparently, your mother was quite dramatic when filing the report. Crying, saying you'd stolen their car, disappeared without a trace, might be in danger or on drugs. When the VIN came back registered to a corporation with you listed as owner, they felt manipulated. That sounds about right. Will you press charges? I thought about it. Thought about years of gaslighting. About my mother telling relatives I was mentally unstable when I started setting boundaries. About my father saying I was throwing my life away when I bought my first property instead of going to graduate school like he wanted. Yes, I said. I want to press charges. Are you certain? This will escalate things significantly. Daniela, they filed a false police report. They're telling everyone I'm a thief. They've spent 6 months trashing my reputation to the family. I'm done protecting people who won't stop hurting me. Understood. I'll notify the Portland DA's office and the police department. You should expect contact from your family when they find out. She wasn't wrong. 3 hours later, my phone exploded. 15 missed calls. 42 text messages. Mom, how could you do this to us? We're your parents. Dad, you're going to have us arrested? Over a misunderstanding. Trevor, this is insane, Sophia. They made a mistake. Aunt Marilyn, you're destroying your family over your pride. I called Daniela. They know. The Portland police informed them that you're pressing charges for filing a false report. They're also being investigated for possible harassment, given the documentation you provided of repeated unwanted contact after you requested no contact. What happens now? They'll likely be charged with filing a false report, which is a misdemeanor. Fines, possibly community service. The harassment investigation will depend on what the DA finds. My mother called. I sent it to voicemail. She called again. And again. Finally, I answered. What? How dare you? Her voice was shaking with rage. We are your parents. We raised you, fed you, clothed you. And now you're lying about me to the police and our entire family. We made a mistake. We thought the car was ours. Mom, you've never made payments on that car. You've never seen the registration. You have no paperwork, no insurance documents, nothing connecting you to that vehicle. You let us use it. I lent it to you. Twice. For specific trips. That doesn't make it yours. We're your family. What's yours should be ours. And there it was. The core belief that had poisoned our relationship my entire adult life. No, Mom. That's not how it works. You've changed. You used to be such a sweet girl. Now you're cold and selfish. I used to be easy to control. Now I have boundaries. You see that as selfish because it doesn't serve you. I'm your mother. I deserve respect. Respect goes both ways. You've spent 6 months telling everyone I'm unstable, irresponsible, and now a thief. That's not respect. Because you abandoned us. You stopped answering our calls. You moved without telling us where. I'm 32 years old. I don't need to report my location to you. We're family. Family doesn't file false police reports, Mom. She was crying now. The weapon she'd used my entire life. Tears that made me feel guilty, that made me the bad guy for upsetting her. You're really going to have us arrested? You really filed a false police report. We'll fight this. We'll tell them you gave us the car. No, Mom. You won't. Because I have documentation of everything. Purchase records, registration, insurance, corporate paperwork. The car has always been mine. You have nothing but lies. I can't believe you're doing this to us. I can't believe you thought you could steal my car by lying to the police. I hung up. The family group chat erupted. I was being called ungrateful, cruel, heartless. Trevor posted a long message about how I'd always been difficult, always caused problems, always made everything about me. I left the group chat. That evening, my cousin Maya called. She was 26, my favorite cousin, and one of the few family members who'd supported my decision to set boundaries. I heard about the car thing, she said. Let me guess. They're saying I'm the villain. Trevor posted in the family chat that you're having Mom and Dad arrested over a misunderstanding. Said you've become cruel and vindictive. The car is registered to my company. They filed a false police report. That's not a misunderstanding, Maya. Wait, what company? I'd never told Maya either. I trusted her, but the fewer people who knew, the fewer chances for information to get back to my parents. I own a real estate investment company, Aurora Holdings. I've built a portfolio worth about $12 million. Silence. Then, you're serious. Completely serious. Holy shit, Sophia. How long? For years. Started with one duplex, grew from there. And nobody knows? My attorney, my accountant, my employees. That's it. I let the family think I work for a property management company because it was easier than dealing with their judgment and demands. Demands? If they knew I had money, Maya, what do you think would happen? My dad would want me to invest in Trevor's business ideas. My mom would expect me to pay for family vacations. Every relative with a problem would show up asking for loans. That's actually fair. I built something for myself. I worked 2 jobs for 3 years to save the down payment for that first duplex. I taught myself real estate investing, property management, renovation budgeting. Everything I have I earned. And I'm not sharing it with people who don't respect me. The family thinks you're broke. I know. I drive a nice car, so they decided I must be in debt. I rent a loft in downtown Denver, so they think I'm wasting money. They see what they want to see. Maya laughed. This is incredible. You're like a secret millionaire. Multimillionaire, technically. Even better. So what happens now with your parents? They'll probably be charged with filing a false report. Fines, maybe community service. I'm also considering a restraining order for the harassment. Will you really do that? They're your parents. Maya, they showed up at my old apartment 4 times after I asked for no contact. They called my work trying to get my new address. They sent Uncle Dennis to check on me, and he tried to force his way into my building. This isn't love. This is control. I get it. I really do. But the family is going to destroy you over this. Let them. I don't need people in my life who think respecting my boundaries makes me the bad guy. We talked for another hour. Maya was the only person who seemed to understand that going no contact wasn't cruel. It was survival. 2 weeks later, my parents were formally charged with filing a false police report. They each paid a $1,000 fine and were sentenced to 40 hours of community service. The family was outraged. I was ungrateful, vindictive, cruel for putting my parents through this. I didn't respond to any of it. 3 weeks after that, Daniela helped me file for a restraining order. The documented harassment, the unwanted visits, the excessive calls, the relatives sent to find me, the false police report, was more than enough. The restraining order was granted. My parents were not to contact me directly or through third parties for 1 year. Trevor called me from an unknown number. You got a restraining order against Mom and Dad? What is wrong with you? They wouldn't stop contacting me. I asked for space. They refused. This is what happens when people won't respect boundaries. They're your parents, Sophia. Parents worry. Parents want to know their kids are okay. Parents also respect their adult children's autonomy. Mine don't, because you went crazy. You disappeared. You won't tell anyone where you live. You're acting paranoid. I moved to Denver. I have a successful business. I have friends, a life, a therapist who's helped me understand that what our parents did to us wasn't normal. I'm not crazy, Trevor. I'm healthy. For the first time in my life, I'm actually healthy. By cutting off your family, by cutting off people who hurt me. That's what healthy people do. He hung up. I didn't call back. 6 months passed. I bought 2 more properties. Aurora Holdings crossed $13 million in total assets. I hired a chief operating officer to help scale operations. I went to therapy weekly. Learned about enmeshment, emotional abuse, parental manipulation. Learned that family isn't obligated, love isn't control, and boundaries aren't betrayal. Maya visited me in Denver. We had dinner at a nice restaurant overlooking the mountains. How are you doing? She asked. Better than I've ever been. The family still talks about you. Mostly about how ungrateful you are. Let them. Trevor said your parents are devastated. They don't understand what they did wrong. That's the problem. They don't think they did anything wrong. They think I owe them access to my life because they're my parents. Do you miss them? I thought about it. I miss the idea of them. I miss having parents who love me unconditionally, who support my choices, who respect my boundaries. But I never actually had that. What I miss is something that never existed. Maya nodded. That's really sad. It is. But it's also freeing. I spent 32 years trying to earn their approval, trying to be the daughter they wanted. Now I'm just being myself. And myself is pretty damn successful. She raised her glass. To Aurora Holdings and secret multimillionaires. I laughed. To boundaries and chosen family. A year after the restraining order was granted, it expired. My parents didn't contact me. Neither did Trevor. The silence was exactly what I needed. I bought a house in Denver. For bedrooms, mountain views, a home office where I could run my growing company. I adopted a dog. Made friends who knew me as Sophia the businesswoman, not Sophia the disappointing daughter. Maya called one evening. Your dad had a minor heart attack. He's okay, but I thought you should know. I felt something worry, maybe. Old habits of caring. But not enough to break the boundary I'd built. Thanks for telling me. Are you going to reach out? No. Sophia, he almost died. And if he wants to talk to me, he knows how to respect my boundaries and approach this appropriately. Through a therapist, through a letter that acknowledges harm done, through actual change. Not through a medical emergency that's supposed to make me forget everything that happened. You've gotten hard. I've gotten healthy. There's a difference. 2 years after I went no contact, Trevor reached out via email. The subject line read, "I'm sorry." The email was long. He apologized for not believing me, for taking their side automatically, for not understanding why I needed distance. He said he'd started therapy himself and was beginning to see patterns he hadn't noticed before. He didn't ask me to forgive Mom and Dad. He didn't ask me to come back. He just said he was sorry and that he hoped I was happy. I wrote back, "Thank you. I appreciate this. I am happy. We didn't become close again, but we were civil. Sometimes that's enough." Aurora Holdings reached $18 million in assets. I had 12 employees. I was featured in a real estate investment magazine. How one millennial built an empire in small multifamily properties. My mother somehow got a copy. She called from an unknown number. I answered out of curiosity. "I saw your article," she said. "No hello. No how are you? Okay. You've done well for yourself." "I have. We could have helped you. If you'd told us." "No, Mom. You would have tried to control it. That's why I didn't tell you. I'm your mother. I just want what's best for you. What's best for me is living my own life, making my own choices, and not having to justify my existence to people who only valued me when I made them look good." Silence. Then, "Is there any chance we could talk? Really talk? Are you willing to go to family therapy? To acknowledge the harm that was done? To respect my boundaries without making me the villain for having them?" More silence. "I don't think we did anything that warrants therapy." "Then no. There's no chance we can talk. You're still punishing us. I'm still protecting myself. There's a difference." I hung up. Maya asked me once if I regretted it. Going no contact, pressing charges, the restraining order, all of it. I thought about the question seriously. Thought about the cost, family relationships, holiday gatherings, the simple comfort of having parents in your life. Then I thought about the peace I'd found, the success I'd built, the therapy sessions where I learned I wasn't the problem, the mornings I woke up without anxiety, the life I'd created on my own terms. "No," I told Maya. "I don't regret it at all. Even though they'll probably never change, especially because they'll probably never change. I can't control them. I can only control what I allow in my life. And I don't allow people who hurt me, even if they're family. That's really brave. It's really survival. The Mercedes that started it all sits in my garage now, paid off. Sometimes I drive past my old neighborhood in Portland when I'm in town for business. I don't stop. Don't slow down. Don't feel the pull to check in. That life is behind me. Aurora Holdings is my family now. And I'm finally home.